and it is time for a YouTube Live. I'm Joanne Rogers of Design with Jo. If you are new here, welcome. If you have been here a few times before, welcome as well. So we are going to do some card making tonight. I'm going to make you a card, a Christmas card that doesn't use any of the holiday stuff that we have in our catalog. So it's a way to use some of the things that we have in our annual catalog and things that you might already have. And then I'm going to show you 3 different ways to turn any card into a gift card. So that's what we're going to be working on tonight. Let me make sure I'm in the right place. It looks like I am. So when you make a comment, I can see your comments there. Hello, Karen. Glad that you are here. And hello, Debbie, as well. I'm glad that you're here. Excuse me. So I'm not a seasoned YouTuber, but I would like to become a seasoned YouTuber. And I would love to have a lot of people joining in and commenting as we're playing along. So a little bit of our paper crafting community that we have over in my Facebook group, the VI Peeps, which is an exclusive group that anybody can belong to, and it's free. And we have a lot of fun there on every second Tuesday. We are there now and we do some crafting and everybody gets in on the crafting. And they tell me what color of paper, what type of embellishments, where to do placement, the layout, everything. And then we come up with an original design between all of us, however many happen to be there. So that's every second Tuesday. And then every second Tuesday on the alternates, I'm here. So thank you for joining in, and I am going to get started here pretty much right away. And if you have never been here before, please say hello. If you've never seen me before, please say hello either here on the live or on the replay, and let me know what other things you might like me to be showing you, because I want to make sure that it is time well spent. You have lots of folks that you can take time and spend time watching, and I want to make sure that you enjoy and that you're going to use some of what we do here. Okay, so I'm going to point you down at my workstation and just a couple little quick reminders, and then we'll get right into the card. Okay, so let me see if I can manage to do this without getting everybody too dizzy here. So let me know what that looks like. Maybe give me a thumbs up or something if that's looking okay on your end. Let me just turn this a little bit this way here. Okay. Just slightly different than doing Facebook Lives. Hello, Evelyn. Hello, Barb. Hello, Pat. I'm glad that you ladies are here. And let everybody know, because you don't have to be a member of the VI Peeps to come and watch here on YouTube. So the first thing that I want to tell you about is if you have placed an order with me, you're going to automatically get the new catalogs. You're either going to get them at an in-person open house, which I'm going to be having on January 7th. Saturday, and there will be information coming out about that in the next little bit. And it'll be sort of an invitation only one there. And if not, they'll be mailed to you, so you get them right about when this catalog goes live, which is actually January 5th. So it's just 2 days prior to that. So it's perfect timing. So the mini catalog, if you love purple, this catalog, well, not this catalog front is definitely for you. There's all kinds more things inside, which of course I can't show you yet. And then the celebration. So celebration is going to be come back sort of to normal. We're going to have it for January and February of the year. And there are some really neat sets in here and some gorgeous paper. So there's lots of fun things there to play with. So if you need one, message me, leave me a comment, let me know, and I will get that out to you probably, well, not probably, I'll get it out to you in January. Okay, so, but we are not quite done with our mini catalog yet. So I'm going to be using 2 stamp sets and 1 set of dies out of this, no, 1 stamp set and 1 set of dies out of this catalog, and it's not a bundle. So they're not a current bundle, and but I want to show you how you can mix and match a little bit, because sometimes I think we get locked into our bundles and we think, oh, we can't do anything different. Well, you know what? We can do lots of things different. I just made that a little bit closer, so I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see a little up close and personal. There we go. Okay. So there are a ton of things that are retiring in this mini catalog. There are some things that are already sold out because everything now is while supplies last. For instance, on this front cover, this paper is sold out. This stamp set here is actually carrying over to next year. This set of dies is the one that I'm going to be using tonight. And when we use these ones tonight, I'm not going to be using the trees. I'm going to be using the snowflake. But these dies are also they're on the last chance list. So they are going to go, and once they're gone, they are gone. So there's a lot of stuff in here that falls into that category. So if there's anything that you want, I would suggest you really take a close look at it and get your order in before it's too late, because they might be sold out. Hello, Pam from Cold Lake, from Cold Lake probably. It's cold here too. Okay, so what are we going to use from the annual catalog that I'm going to turn into Christmas design? We're going to use the In Color Glimmer paper. So this is beautiful glimmer paper, and it's in all of the colors that are current in colors this year. So we have Orchid Oasis, which is sort of a lavender, Starry Sky, which is a deep blue purple, darker than Night of Navy, I think, more purple in it. Then we have Parakeet Party, which is a little more yellow than Granny Apple Green. Sweet Sorbet, which is sort of a cherryish, a red that has a lot of orange and pink in it. And then we have our Tahitian Tide. So this comes in a pack, and there are 6 sheets of each one. 6 sheets, 6 times 5 is 30. No, there are 4 sheets of each one. Sorry, because there's 20 in a pack. And we are tonight going to be using the Tahitian Tide. And I have another sample here that I'm going to show you as well. So Twinkling Lights. So this is the set of dies. And so we are going to be using this die right here, this large snowflake. And I have used it both ways. I have used it where I just cut out the snowflake in this shape and use that on my card. And then I've also used it where we create a nesting inside. And that's exactly what I've done with our piece of Tahitian Tide. So let me just put that onto a piece of white just so that you can see, and I can see that I have one that needs poking out. So probably the most, I'm not going to use the word challenging, but maybe the most painstaking, shall we say, is getting some of these little dots out. Your take your pick tool with the die brush really does help out here, but I do end up poking out some with the take your pick tool and the pointy end. Now I figure that if you were going to make a bunch of these cards, because these don't need to be Christmas cards either, these could be winter cards, you can get at least 4 on each sheet. And then we're also going to cut out one of the smaller snowflakes, which is this one right here. And it's just a shape. Now we could also put a little one on the inside there if we wanted to. I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it as is. So those are our 2 pieces that we already have out of our Tahitian Tide. We're going to put this guy back here. So again, this one is discontinued and it will be retired right away. We're also using the Scalloped Contours, which this set of dies is sort of a must-have, I think, in your craft room, just because of all of these nested rectangles. We're going to use the largest one here. So this actually coordinates with a stamp set that has flowers in it. And of course, I've lost the name of the stamp set right now. And I can't see it because I have stuff in front of my stamps. But those 2, and then there's a nice big scallop here. And then all of the nested have different scallops on them. So we are using this one tonight. I like the one that does the cutouts, and it really does make a very pretty cutout. So this is thick basic white. And I started with a piece of paper that was 5 1/4, and you can get, it was 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and it was, this fits in there perfectly, and will still give you a little tiny outline too. So we've got that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that, and we're going to take another stamp set, and this stamp set is also retiring, and I'm I'm quite sad that this one is going. I don't feel that I've shown it as much as I should have, and I think that it should be sticking around, and so I'm sad about that. Now, one of the reasons why I'm sad about it, the Leaves of Holly goes with a set of dies called, I should get it here for you and show you. Let me just pull it out if I can find it. Holly Berry. Here it is. So this is the Holly Berry dies that coordinate with it. And there's this great label right here that cuts out, it's hard to sort of see, but it cuts out the detailed leaves there. But there's berries, and you cut out these leaves and put them in behind, and you can have different colors. There's sprigs, there's big leaves, there's smaller leaves, there's the berries themselves and the cutout of the berries. So this is a lovely bundle. And they're both being retired. So I'm quite sad about that. I'm debating on if it stays in my stash or not. Right now I'm feeling it's going to. So Leaves of Holly, and where I've just pulled out a couple stamps from there. I've just pulled out the Christmas wishes and the two friends. Did I? No, from our home to yours. So we're going to stamp that. Because these are photopolymer stamps and they don't have any give underneath them, I'm going to be stamping my words on top of my Stampin' Pierce mat. And I'm going to use the matching ink, which is Tahitian Tide. Now, how many of you think of turquoise being a color that you would use for snowflakes? You might not. You might think that they should be a navy blue or a balmy blue, but I'm thinking this is a great idea. So we are going to see how it looks in comparison to another one that I did. Okay, so we're going to put our words down at the bottom and try and get them straight here and in the middle. There you go. And then this is going to be on the inside, but I'm going to leave that for later. So I'm going to put that off to the side. And what's going to happen is we are going to put this guy right here. This is also for the inside, so we'll put that aside. We're going to put this on, and we're going to put it on with some, well, I'm not going to put it on. Before we put it on, we are going to wrap some of our in-color Baker's Twine. So this in-color package has a matching set of Baker's Twine, and this is the Tahitian Tide right here, which I think is, it might be my favorite. And I've pulled out about, what did I do here? Let me just measure it. I think it's about 20 inches or so. Yes, it's about 20 inches of twine. And you want to have enough twine that we're going to have a nice generous bow. So that's why I have so much. It is a beautiful color, Pat. And so first of all, what I want to do is I want to put some dimensionals on the back here so that it's popped up. But I'm going to do that very carefully, because you don't want to put, and get that little guy out of there, you don't want to put any dimensionals over top of where any of the holes are. You want to put it just where there's white, because you don't want to cover up and have that showing in behind. So I'm going to be very careful on how I put my placement here of my minis, and that's another reason why I'm using minis, is that they will work a little bit better here. I'm going to try and put one everywhere, here, and one there. Now I could probably put one in the middle if I wanted. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to cut my minis just a very little bit, and I'm going to make a long skinny one here, and I'm going to see if that fits. I think that should be a good size to fit. Right, I didn't quite get it cut all the way through. And that should fit right here, I think. Yes, so we won't be able to see that. So I'm going to cut a few more of those. So this is what you want to do, is you just want to cut right along the side. Cut right up there, and it's a great way to get more value out of those dimensionals. Now they're just one jumbled mess right now, but I'm going to pull them apart with my fingers and my Take Your Pick tool. And then put them on. Now, I like to have dimension like this. Now, if I don't put them on that way, I could also put it on this way. So it really does not matter which way you put your dimensionals on here, and they are going to pop up just fine. How many of you cut your dimensionals now and get a lot more use out of it? I had my team meeting this week, and one of my team members, she says she cuts all of her dimensionals. The big one she cuts in half too. So she gets a little bit more life out of them that way. How many of you do that now? So I'm not going to put this on quite yet. We're going to take our twine and we're going to put it through one of the holes here. And I'm going to, I think, put it through this guy right here. So I am down how many? 1, 2, 3. I'm down the fourth one. And then I'm going to come around to the other side. So give yourself enough there that it's not going to be pulled out. And then go down 4 on the other side and up and through. Hard to do when you're only doing one hand. I'll try not to do what I'm doing, which is getting the individual strands coming through instead of the whole thing together. There we go. Okay, so just make sure that you are in the right spot, and I am. And you want to pull over enough ribbon so that when you tie it over here, you're going to have enough to make a bow. So you're going to just tie it, hold your finger down on top of your knot there, make a loop, and make another one, and pull that through. So just like tying your shoes, you can make it as loose as you want to start with, and then pull it out. And you can play with these ends as much as you want. There's what I would suggest to have it not twist and turn, is actually hold your finger right on the knot before you pull out. Not do what I did that first time. So I might have to play with him a little more. So I'm going to leave that there right now because I want to be able to move that around still a little bit more. So Susan says she does that, and Barb, they cut with their dimensionals already. Okay, so I'm going to actually put this onto my card first, and then I'm going to put my snowflake on. So I have a piece of the Tahitian tie that's 5.5 by 8.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to give that a nice crisp edge with my bone folder. Be really careful. I've got a really full tin of stuff, and if I'm not careful, I could knock it over. So there's that. I'm also going to use something to pop up my scallop. And what I like to use when I'm doing a big piece like this is I like to use the foam adhesive strips. I don't use the full foam as much because I just find that that's a little bit wasteful unless I have a smaller piece. If I have a smaller piece of card, then I will. So I will put these on the bottom, on the sides. Now, if I put it over top of my ribbon right here, then I'm not going to have the ability to move it anymore. And maybe that's okay. I'm going to do that. No, I'm not. I'm not. Boy, it doesn't take me long to change my mind. I'm going to put it so that I can still move that ribbon if I have to. So you saw me just pull the foam adhesive strip right there. That works just fine. Do you use adhesive like this, the foam adhesive strips? And then I'm going to take another long one, and I'm going to put it down here on a diagonal. And I think I have one little one left, and I'm going to put that up here. I had to make sure that it had the sticky off. Now you don't have to do it exactly like that, but that gives you a nice solid card by the time you get it put down. Really solid on your card, it's not going anywhere. And it is just a little bit more popped up than your dimensionals. Because sometimes when your dimensionals go through the mail, they get squished. They just don't have as much, they're not very rigid. This is a little bit heavier, and it'll just protect your card just that little bit more. So I'm just taking off all of the backs now. I could do this with my take your pick tool as well. I always have to make sure, I always have to look and touch it. Okay, I think I go the right way. So this is a pretty simple card. There are lots of ways to do this card a little bit differently too. And that bow looks a little sad, doesn't it? I'm going to do the bow again, just because I twisted that twine. So let me do it again so that it's not so twisted. It looks a little bit better. So again, just a knot, hold it in place, and just like tying your shoes. You could also do the 2 loops and tie it. That will also work. So now I'm going to hold this in place, and I'm going to pull on the end. And that will stop it from twisting, at least a little bit. This one is still a little twisted. But you're keeping all of the pieces of twine together, which is why it's not twisting up. Okay, so let's leave that like that for now. Let's take all of the backs off our mini dimensionals. I'm going to do that with my take your pick. It'll go just a little quicker for me. So yeah, I'm just poking it right in there and giving it a little jog up. You can do that with these long ones as well, but sometimes you don't need to do that. Another thing you can do, if you don't like your take your pick, is to put your fingernail in the middle of the backing. That one's already off. That one's off. I guess I have my, oh, here's one. And it just brings it up on one side so that you can easily get it off. Okay, so let's place this. I think I want to place this so that my, this is at the top. And I also want to place it so that my twine goes through the middle here. So I'm going to do that first. I'm going to line that up first. I'm looking at where it's placed on the card here. I'm putting this one at the top, and then I'm just going to place it down. Okay, so it's on there nice and sturdy as well. Let's just trim off these ends a little bit. I'm going to use my fabric scissors. I went out on Friday night. I brought my fabric scissors because there was ribbon and there were people talking around, and I just about had a little fit. I had to be very careful because somebody picked up my scissors, was standing there just chatting, picked up my scissors and opened an envelope with them. And it was like, oh no, those scissors never touch paper. Do you ever have that happen to you? I'm going to pull this just a little bit more. Okay, so there's our card. How about if we put one of our elegant faceted gems on there? I'm going to put it right in the middle. Now, because I picked a clear one here, I'm not going to put any glue on there, but normally I would put a little bit of glue just so that it sticks really well to the glimmer paper. Okay, so there's the front of our card. So do you like that card? I'm going to show you the front of this one. So here is another one. This one is done with the starry sky, so you can get a feel for what they look like. This one here catches the light quite a bit more than this one. Other than that, they're pretty much exactly the same card, different verses too. Okay, so now let's do the inside of the card, and this is where we're going to turn it into a gift card holder. Okay, so I have just a regular piece, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, and we are going to just stamp on that. Well, here it is. Here's my other stamp. So it's from our house to yours. Bring in this again. Now I could get away probably with stamping without this, but I do like just having that a little bit of give underneath. So I'm going to put this here and try and get that straight again. Sorry if my head gets in the way. From our home to yours, clean that off. We are going to put the snowflake just up here, and I'm going to put that one on just with liquid glue. And the liquid glue, because it's inside, if I put a dimensional on there, it would probably stick it up too much. Okay, so there's that. Now, we're going to put it inside, but I want to show you how to, let's close this up, how to make the first gift card holder. So let's say you have a whole bunch of cards. You have a whole bunch of Christmas cards that you've been making, and you have some extras. They're left over. So this is what you can do to turn them into gift card holders. So I pulled in the Tea Boutique, again, which is something out, a set of 6 by 6 papers that are out of the annual catalog. And here's all the colors that go with them. But this is one of the papers that has every one of the in colors, the current in colors. So it has the Tahitian tide over here. So I've picked the one that has the little dots on the background, which is this piece right here. And we are just going, all we're going to do, we're going to do two things. We're going to do an envelope for this. Let me pull out my paper trimmer. And we are also going to make just a little pocket. So you can do the pocket one of two ways. You can measure it and be have a perfect measurement. You don't have to. All you have to do here is you're going for a triangle. And you want a triangle that's going to have enough oomph to it so that it's going to cover about this much of your paper. You could put it on this side if you want, but I like it on this side. It doesn't need to go from up here all the way down here to work. It just needs to go somewhere here. So if that's the size that I need, I can do that by looking at where I'm going to be cutting. So to do that, for instance, if I put this here just for placement, just to get an idea, and I move this around like this, I can see if I cut this right now, I'm going to have a triangle that's going to go a little bit like that. I want that maybe to go a little bit more this way instead. I just don't want it to go all that way over. Okay, so now it's going to come so that my triangle is a little bit like that. That's perfect. Make sure if you're using that for placement, take that out of the way because otherwise you are going to have that cut. So just cut that off. We're going to use that piece for something else. And we're just going to glue this right on top. Now you want to be really careful with your gluing here because you want the maximum pocket. So I'm going to glue on top of here because if I glue on here, then I have the potential of going above where this is going to go. Okay, so it can go this way here, and I've got a great pocket. You could even go a little less of a triangle than I did. So my, can't see it very well because it's so busy, but I'm just going to put a very little thin along both of the straight edges. You're saying, well, the other one's straight too. You're going on the one that's not a diagonal, okay? The two lines that are not a diagonal. And then you're going to turn that around and you're going to match that right up to the edge of your card. Okay, so it's not going to go all the way to the end here. And just try and get that really on there nice and straight. Then we're going to put that inside the card. And I've been starting just to put up here with my cards. When you have a card, a gift card, you might want to go all the way around. Okay, you don't have to go all the way around as in all the way around, but you do want to go so that it is stuck down pretty well. Okay, so let's put this one right in the center. And then here's your gift card. So your gift card can go in that way, or it can go in this way. And as long, so my words are a little bit too low. I wasn't thinking about putting it that way because I knew it had hearts on it. So there's something to keep in mind as you're placing it. If you know that you want your card to go in a certain way, just keep that in mind when you're doing your words. Okay, so that's got to be one of the quickest ways to get a gift card holder onto a card. Now let's just finish this one up just a little bit more. We're going to make an envelope for it as well. And we are going to put our liquid glue right around. I mostly, probably 95% of the time, do the outside flap for my card. And then I'm going to just take this corner edge here. Well, actually, I'm going to take this corner edge here and I'm going to put it right up to this side, right up against the score marks, the score lines. Get that nicely adhered. Make sure it's right up to the score line. And then take your scissors and just turn it upside down and cut them off. And you just have, it really does not take that long to do. As long as you have some paper to that matches, that you have enough of it, then it's just a great way to add a completely coordinated envelope. Okay, so here's your card, like that. All coordinated and done. So now let's do a second version of a card, of the inside card. So there's one idea for the inside, pretty simple. Here's your second idea for the inside. So here we have a card, And if you are on my email list, this is the card that you saw today. And I think on this one, I talked about some tips to do over-the-top kind of cards. So to really make your cards a little bit special. So this is the Sweet Gingerbread, a little house that I made. I don't have anything inside right now because we're going to do a slightly different version of a gift card holder now. So let's take a piece of white, okay, because I have white here. This piece of white is 4 by 7, and I've already scored it at 5 1/4 because I want my piece of paper inside to be 4, which is what it is here, by 5 1/4. So I have scored it already, so I'm just going to fold it up on that score line and take my bone folder, give that a nice crisp edge. I'm going to use liquid glue again, but if you're not a liquid glue fan, you could certainly use your double-sided tape here. Tear and tape would be wonderful because it would give just a little bit extra oomph to it than, say, your other double-sided adhesive, although a seal is really strong. So we're going to fold this up now. So you only want to put glue on the short edges. You don't want to put any glue along there. And then you can close it up. Okay. Yes, Evelyn, there's so many ways that we can fancy up the inside. So now we've created a little pocket. And I've just taken a piece of designer series paper, and this is the Boughs of Holly paper. And I liked it because I thought with the dots it was a little more whimsical, which matched the outside of my card. So this piece is 1 1/2 by 3 3/4. And all we're going to do is we're going to glue that right onto the card. I really like these poinsettias, but I decided I didn't want the poinsettias on there. So that's just going to go right in the middle. Now you could put more stamping here if you like. I'm not going to. We are just going to now glue that right inside the card, and you can use your seal again if you want, or your liquid glue. And I'm going to go with my liquid glue. So this works if you don't have an inside already designed on your card that you're going to be using to turn into a gift card holder. So get that one, and then you can either put it in all the way, so a gift card fits perfectly in this card. You could stamp a little bit more up there. You can also put it in that way if you wanted. So another really, really fast gift card holder for you. Okay, we're not going to do an envelope for that one. And now let's do one more. And this one here is, well, maybe the most work. Not really. So this is another card that I created, and I'm quite happy that these wreaths are staying, they're cottage wreaths. They are staying in the catalog. They will be in the next one. So I've created a complete card, done the inside, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a pocket out of some designer paper. So this piece here is 4 by 5. And I'm going to pull in my gift card. So you don't need to score here. You really don't. As long as you're using paper that's not so thick. So 4 by 5, and I'm going to turn it over because I want to see this piece. So I'm going to turn it over and put my card sort of in the middle and right towards the top. And then I'm going to, if I'm lining up the top with the top edge of the paper, then I'm going to get a fairly straight image. So then just take it and fold it right over. Take the other side and fold it right over. Try not to get it super tight. Okay, super tight is not good in this case because you might run the risk of actually making it a tiny bit too small. So we're just making a little pocket for it. Undo it there, make sure it's still lined up at the top, and then fold up your bottom right up against. Okay, and then do firm up those ends. I'm going to take that out for just a minute, just because I want it to be as straight as I can get it. So then what we're going to do, and it might be sort of hard to see on that side, maybe we'll do it on this side. So then what we're going to do is we are going to cut away this rectangle right here. I'm going to nudge it. You might be able to not be able to see. This is a straight line right here. I'm going to do just a little wedge there, and I'm going to cut right against the line here. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. A little wedge here. Here's the straight line right beside it. There's the wedge. And then I'm going to cut right along the line here. Now, important part. What we want to do next, you want to take some kind of punch. And I am using the Label Me Fancy punch. You can use a circle punch, pretty much any kind of punch. But you want to punch now. You don't want to punch after you put it together. So I'm going to punch, and I'm going to look. I'm going to try and place my punch so somewhere in the middle here. And I'm just going to eyeball this. And I know if that drives you bonkers, then go ahead and measure and put a little pencil mark in there so that you know where the center is. What I'm doing is I'm looking at my score line here and my score line, where is it, here, and I'm seeing about the same amount there. So I'm saying that's pretty good. So then that's what you've got. We're going to take this side over and crisp it again. Take this side over, and we are going to put some liquid glue. Whenever I'm doing an overlap like that, I usually bring in my silicone craft sheet, I usually put my liquid glue on both edges. If it wants to come out, I will anyway. And on this edge, I'm going to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. I've already got glue on there, so I'd get it all over. So I'm going to put just a little tiny bit of glue here. Press that over to seal it. And then we're going to fold up that bottom one. I see that I'm not completely straight. So before I do that, can you see where I've got an overlap here? I'm just going to cut that straight, because if I don't, that's going to interfere with the bottom and you're not going to see it anyway. And hey, this one is not precise. It's not like a die or anything like that, but it's how you can make perfect gift card holder every single time, because you're using the gift card itself as part of your design element. Okay, so then all we're going to do with this one is we are going to place that, we're going to glue it right inside, and then we're going to put our gift card on. So I'm going to use liquid glue all along the back so it's nice and tight. Stays put, I guess, is what I really want to say. Try and get it as straight as possible. And because I want this gold to be up, now it just sort of fits in perfectly. Now you could do a little bit more stamping there if you wanted, but it is another great way that you can make a gift card holder in no time at all. So just take one of your current cards. So I'll do all of these ones. So we started with the easiest, and the easiest is just a corner pocket. Then we turned it, look at, they're all the same orientation. Then we turned this one with a larger piece and created a pocket that we decorated. And with this one here, we created a pocket, but it is a standalone little envelope pocket. So which one do you see yourself using on your Christmas cards and your gift card holders for this year? Put it into the comments so I can see. And that is all that I have for you this evening. I wanted to be fairly quick so that I know when you're down to the wire and creating for the gifts that you want things that are really quite quick. So that's why you have what you have tonight. So thanks everybody for joining me, and I will see you all again next week, hopefully in our VI Peeps group, and 2 weeks after that. Next week in the VI Peeps, I'm doing a little hot chocolate gift holder. And then I'm back here again in 2 weeks. And I can't remember what I'm doing. 2 weeks today is what? The 22nd. I think 14 plus 6 is the 20th. I think I'm doing last minute table favors. So thank you everybody for coming and joining in. And thanks. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.